Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 So Christian, what's up, baby? How you feeling today?
What's good? What's good?
Man, I'm excited that you're here.
Yeah, man.
So did I say your name correctly? What actually is the correct pronunciation of your name?
You said it right. I usually go by Chris. You know what I mean? But my full name is Christian.
Christian, okay.
I grew up hating that name.
You did? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It just sounded like, I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Okay.
I just rather went by Chris.
So you told nobody your name was Christian?
Yeah. Well, growing up, my first name is Chris, but my middle name is Tunde.
Okay.
Which is African. My dad's from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
So my family called me Tunde. Everybody that knew me growing up around the way, family, they called me Tunde.
Oh, okay.
So when I went to school, that's when I started going by Chris.
Okay. Okay.
And my full name is Christian Cattell.
Got
Christian
it.
Babatunde Cattell.
Okay.
So that's when I started going by Christian, was when I started school. But, everybody called you Chris. People thought my name was Christopher. I wouldn't even correct them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just let it roll because I hated Christian.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Why? Why did you hate it?
I don't know. I can't really give you a good reason.
Okay.
It just sounded corny to me.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. What were your other nicknames?
I told you my middle name was Tunde, so
Right.
that name got jacked up to, man, people call me Tuna Fish, Tuesday. My man uncle called me Toenail.
Was there any nickname that you hated? Some people hated the nicknames.
Everybody was just messing around. My dad was African. I had an African name, so my one man would call me like Tunde Kabunde Kabunde.
Right.
So I just had all that growing up.
Okay.
People teasing me about my name. It was it was a unique name. What's funny is Chris is like one of the most common names, of course.
Right. Right.
In Philly. So growing up in Philly, you never hear nobody else named Tunde.
Okay.
But where my dad is from, Tunde is like the most common name in Africa, in Sierra Leone and Nigeria.
Have you ever been there?
Nah. I need to go.
Okay.
I got tons of family over there I never met.
Okay.
I just met my cousin in 2018 in London. I had to go to Europe for work, and I went to London. It was the same week the Eagles played in London. So it was a bunch of people from Philly over there.
Okay.
And I met my cousin. He got like the same story as me. My dad came to America. His dad went to London. And, I grew up over here. He grew up over there.
Okay.
So he like 5 years younger than me, something like that.
Okay.
So we linked up and hung out. We're hearing Africans with London accent. Or black people in general.
Right.
But, you get used to it when you see it a lot.
Right.
But, yeah. Then my last name, which is Cattell,
Okay.
has his own story. Because it's like, like I said, my dad was African, but he has a last name that don't sound African at all. Okay. So I literally just found this out maybe like last August, September, that my last name on my dad's side comes from says slave master.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought, being from Africa, they was just, indigenous to Africa. But actually, my dad's either grandfather or great-grandfather was a slave in Jamaica.
Okay.
And they came back to Africa. And it's a lot of Nigerians and Sierra Leoneans with the last name Cattell, which is like amazing. You hear Nigerians, you hear names like Ugoji or African sounding tribal, names, and then you hear Cattell.
Right.
But there's a ton of, if you search Cattell, you'll see a ton of Nigerians come up.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Okay.
And Sierra Leoneans.
Got it. But you mentioned you're from Philly.
Yeah.
PA.
Philadelphia.
Okay. Do you claim a specific neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm from West Oak Lane.
From West Oak Lane.
It's called Uptown now.
Oh, so Uptown, West Oak
Yeah.
Lane, same thing.
Yeah.
Got
when
it,
I grew up, it was called West Oak Lane. You
Okay.
ask somebody now, and they'll say Uptown.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it. How would you describe your neighborhood growing up?
Growing up, West Oak Lane was like, it wasn't the hood. It wasn't North Philly. It wasn't projects around. You definitely knew you wasn't in the projects when you grew up in West Oak Lane.
Okay.
It was still, we grew up in the crack era.
Right.
I mean, I was
Right.
born in 1980. So 10, 11, 12, 13 was the early 90s. You know what I mean? It still was stuff going on.
Okay.
But it wasn't the hood. Like, you knew when you left West Oak Lane and went down North Philly, you seen the difference. You seen the difference out west, southwest. So, and then, like, when I started high school, you told people from West Oak Lane, they like, oh, you from that punk neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it was back then.
Because it wasn't as grimy as it was in other areas.
Exactly.
Okay.
But now, it's grimy as anywhere in
Okay.
Philly. Like,
West Oak Lane, that's where the rapper Cassidy is from, right?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
He from not far from where it's funny because West Oak Lane, just like other neighborhoods, they have they different sections.
Right.
So I'm from what's called Bottom Side.
Okay.
I think Cassidy from Top Side. There's a couple other sides that I don't know. I was from Bottom Side, so we used to just talk about the other neighborhoods like.
Okay.
Like, if you live close to Sheltonham Mall, we called y'all Sheltonham.
Got it.
Even though it's West Oak Lane.
Right.
We like,
Right.
the Sheltonham Bulls.
So if you were somewhere in Philly, but not in your neighborhood, and they said, where are you from? What would you say?
Back then, I'd say West Oak Lane. I would say West Oak Lane if
Now,
they
what
wasn't from West Oak Lane.
What if you met a person, or like a girl, that's from West Oak Lane too, but she doesn't know you, and she asks you where you from?
I
What
would
would you
say
say?
Bottom Side.
You would say Bottom Side.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's different lingo based on the people you talking to.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Exactly.
So you personally would never say Uptown though.
I mean, I say it now. It doesn't.
You say it now, right? Just
It
to
grew on.
assimilate.
When people first started calling it Uptown,
Right.
back in like I want to say like 99, 2000, that
Okay.
time frame,
Okay.
it was like I'm like what?
Right.
Uptown, where that's at? That's here. Oh, all right. So once that's the lingo,
Right.
It kind of falls to. I call it Uptown.
Now, previously, you had given me a history lesson. You had said, like, back in the 60s and 70s, West Oak Lane was considered, like, the upper middle
Back
class
then,
black area.
Yeah, it was when people would move out the hood to West Oak Lane, where they was thinking they was moving out the hood,
Right.
and like, it's definitely is a lot more trees. You know what I
Okay.
mean? The houses, the blocks are a lot more spacious.
Right.
Like South Philly's got these little tiny blocks, even the North Philly little tiny blocks.
Right.
West Oak Lane, you actually got bigger blocks, bigger streets.
Okay.
They still got the small one ways too, but you know what I mean? It just was a different area. It just you could physically look at the houses and see the difference.
Okay.
Like I'll see a YouTube clip of something that somebody filmed in some neighborhood. You look at the house, you can almost tell exactly what part of Philly it's at just by looking at the houses, the way how the driveways, the cement.
Right. You can be like, that's North Philly. That's West Philly.
That's a West Oak Lane house. So
Okay,
that's
got it.
house. You know what I mean? That house is in, like, West Philly had the 3-story row homes.
Right.
I mean, Southwest and West Philly too. So you knew just by looking at the structure of the houses where you was at. And, like, you can almost tell when you meet people what part of the neighborhood they was from. Based on how they dress or... I mean, nowadays, everybody had, like, the same...
Right.
If you from Philly, you wear, like, the same style. You got the same lingo for the most part. But you could almost tell... You could be wrong a lot of times, but you could almost tell where somebody was from just on...
How they dress and how they talk.
Like, Uptown was, like, West Oak Lane and Mount Airy people was known for being, like, pretty boys.
Okay.
We wore different type of clothes. If you see, remember the style, remember the Philly style where everybody had the hoodies, but they just had the neck part tied. And
Yeah, we still do that. Right.
A lot of you see.
But that started in West Oak Lane.
If you seen somebody like say it's like 02,
Right.
You see somebody doing that, it was like an 85% chance he was from West Oak Lane.
Ah, interesting.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
That like those type of things started up that way. You know what I mean? The white tees was like North Philly dudes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or like South Philly, something like out that way.
Got it.
Then that ended up being everywhere. We was doing it. You know what I mean? But no, it's all Philly, so we all copy each other's styles and have our own styles.
Now, a lot of people from Philly, they actually say their corner that they're from. So somebody might say, like, I'm from 57 for Larchwood, or I'm from 11 for Oxford. Did you do that? Or are you just like, nah, I'm from West Oak Lane?
That started later. Well, that started around Uptown era when people started claiming blocks.
Right.
You know what
Okay.
I mean? Like I'm from, they call it Shelton Ave now.
Okay.
But nobody really claimed blocks like that growing up around that way.
Okay.
It was either you was top side, bottom side. It was a couple blocks known, like, I don't want to say no block name.
It's all good.
But, you know what I mean? Where we was from, it was like everybody hung out at the playground.
Right.
So, and that playground on Shelton Ave. So,
Okay. But so overall, growing up for you, it wasn't the Philadelphia that other people might know because your hood wasn't, your neighborhood wasn't as like raw as some of the other ones at the time.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
Got it.
North Philly had like Badlands. It had Richard Island. It had, you know what I mean?
Beirut.
Yeah, all these different areas.
Right.
Southwest had, King Sesson and all that.
Okay.
52nd Street, Chester Ave, all those, Woodland, you know what I mean? Different little sections. West Oak Lane was just like top side, bottom side.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Got it. Now, was top side and bottom side beefing or no? Or like, how was that?
It wasn't. It's funny because where I lived at, Broad Street was right here. And on the other side of Broad Street is East Oak Lane.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I guess, they part of Uptown. East
Right.
Oak Lane is like this big.
Okay.
But East Oak Lane and West Oak Lane beefed a lot.
Really?
Which
Okay.
is weird because they all had the same neighborhood schools. So half the time, you cool with somebody, they from East Oak Lane, but then when it's beef, it's like, you might not know these dudes, but this guy right here, oh, that's my man.
Right.
So you just be like, all right, we ain't gonna fuck with him because I know this boy right here.
Okay, got you.
But it always was something that popped off. I remember a couple times my brother and his homies got into it with some East Oak Lane dudes. And then like right on Broad Street was like the pizza store, the other corner store. It was like the hangout spot.
Right.
So we was always up there. They was always up there. So if it popped off,
It was
we
easy
would
to
see
find.
each other
Right,
on
right.
that corner.
Okay.
Right there on the corner, Broad and Shelton.
Right,
Shelton Ave, right there. Everybody go to the same pizza store. Had the best cheesesteaks. People we knew used to work there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
Okay. So you mentioned your brother. So that means you were not an only child.
Nah.
So were you the oldest or the youngest?
I was the youngest. Technically, my brother wasn't blood to me.
Okay.
He
Which doesn't matter. If you call him
he
your
my
brother, that's your bro. Right.
Yeah, my mom basically raised him.
Okay.
Growing up, his mom worked. His mom was a single parent.
Right. So let me ask you this.
My mom was always home taking care of us during the preschool age.
Right
Even
now,
after that.
Right now, I want you to imagine you're 10 years old. Right now, at this moment, list out all your siblings. So the bro you was just referring to, how old is he? If you're 10,
I'm 10. My brother Dre, he would have been 12.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 2 years older than me, but my birthday is early in the year. His is later, so I'll be a year younger than him until his birthday passed. So he's 2 years older than my sister Dawn. When I was born, she was 12. So if I was 10, she'd be 22.
Okay.
Which is crazy in my mind saying that. 'Cause growing up, I didn't feel we was that
far apart.
I knew they
Right.
was way older than me, but
Because they were
they
kids
was
too.
already grown. When I was 10, she was a grown. She was 22.
Right,
I'm thinking she might have been like 17, 16 in my mind.
Right.
But, and then my other sister, she 3 years older than her, so she would have been 25.
If you're 10,
but
right.
to me, she seemed way older than...
So what was your relationship with them? Your
like,
2 older sisters.
My oldest sister, she raised me like a mother figure.
Okay.
You know what I mean, she, I don't kind of remember a lot, but she tells the stories of, like, I used to call her Mommy Wanda. I don't remember that, but.
But even when you were, by the time you were actually 10, she was 25, so she
Yeah.
was a grown woman.
She was 25 and she had a son, which was my nephew.
Okay.
So he's like a little brother to me, but he's my nephew.
Right, right,
He
got
only
you.
like, I was 6 when he was born.
Okay, got it.
So, but, yeah, she was the motherly sister.
Okay,
Then
okay.
my other sister, Dawn, we shared the room growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was more like a sister than
Okay.
a mother figure.
Okay.
That's why the age difference.
So she
kinda
wasn't like
blew
mad
my mind.
bossy?
Nah.
Nah.
She was bad as hell. So,
Shout out to Dawn.
so that's why, growing up, my dad was real strict.
Okay.
Even on with them, he wasn't my some
So before
My
you
sisters-
get into that, did you grow up with both parents
yeah
the whole
I did.
time?
Yep.
Which makes you the second most minority in the hood, right? Because I think the top minority. Tell me if you agree. The top minority in the hood is kids who live with just their dad.
Yeah.
Right? That's
That
like the
rarely
rarest
happens.
thing. That's
That-
super rare.
Yeah, that
And
gotta
then-
be the top minority.
And then the second is kids who grew up with both parents the whole time. So that's,
Damn,
yeah, think about it.
that's crazy. Cause like I'm trying to think of everybody I grew up on the same block with. All of my homies I grew up with.
Did you
I
know
might
their
have been-
dads? I grew up with so many people I never even
knew-
saw their dad
I knew a
ever.
couple.
I grew up
My
with
dad-
family cousins who I never saw their dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my man, a couple of my homies on the block he had his dad, my man Fred, my boy Will, his dad was there, his mom and dad. Other than that, my boy Aaron parents was there.
So you had a couple.
I had a couple, but if I think of everybody else,
Right.
my brother, his dad's around, but he didn't live with his dad.
Right.
My man, his dad was around, but he didn't live with his dad.
So keep going. Like, describe your relationship with your sisters. Describe your relationship with your parents, your mom and your dad.
All right, so,
And your bro, too, if you want to throw him in.
well, yeah, let me talk about my parents first.
Okay.
My parents were married before I was born. I was born in 80. They was married like 78, I want to say.
Okay.
And they knew I was going. My mom had already had my older sisters by another man, which is funny because growing up, I never asked questions. I knew that my dad wasn't their dad,
Right.
but he raised them. They called him dad, and that was it. I never.
It's not something you consciously talk about.
Yeah, like in my
right.
mind, like that's how it was.
Got it.
It wasn't nothing to talk about.
Okay.
But now that I'm older, I'm thinking about stuff. Like I never knew who their dad was or what.
No, you never saw him.
I saw him, heard about him, nothing. I think I heard later he had got killed. But even to this day, I don't even really know the whole story.
So your dad was from Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Where was your mom from?
She was from Philly.
Oh, your mom's from Philly.
She's
Okay.
from here. She grew up in North Philly.
Okay.
Then they moved to West Philly out. In the house in West Philly we still got.
Okay. Did they ever tell you how they met?
Yeah, my mom told me, but I don't remember all the details.
Right. It's all good.
But they met, and as soon as my dad got here, pretty
Okay.
much, maybe like a year after he got here. My dad had a twin sister. They both came over.
Okay.
together.
Did they ever tell you why they came over from Sierra Leone?
No, they never really did.
Right.
I never.
Because you always wonder, like, was it war torn at the time? Did they just want to come to America? Were they students?
My other aunt told me how they came years later. I found this out like 5 years ago.
Okay.
They basically snuck off and came to America.
Got it.
They ain't tell nobody. They just bounced.
Probably because they would have been stopped. Like, nah, y'all ain't going nowhere.
My aunt came first, and my dad tried to pretend like he ain't know nothing about why she left it. He was planning to come right behind her.
Okay.
Then he came. Because my aunt, she came later too. Her kids are my cousins. They live in Jersey.
Okay.
The only family that came to the U.S. is I just talked about all 3 of them.
Right.
My aunt, my dad, my aunt, and my other aunt, and all the kids
Okay.
from them 3. But there's 10 more brothers and sisters over there.
Right,
that I
back
never
in-
met.
back home.
My
Got
dad
it, got it.
13 brothers and sisters.